Uncover the truth behind the greatest myths and legends through my channel. Don't waste your time. Welcome. Learning English or any language is not just about grammar rules and vocabulary lists. It's about understanding stories, emotions, and the deeper messages that words can carry. This short story, The Clockmaker's Lesson, is written to help you improve your English in a meaningful way by reading something that both touches the heart and strengthens your mind. The language in this story is clear and engaging, with a natural rhythm that will help you become more familiar with how English is used in real-life storytelling. As you read, pay attention to how the characters speak, how emotions are described, and how time plays a central role not only in the story, but in your learning journey as well. The message is simple but powerful. Don't waste your life. Through the life of an old clockmaker and his young apprentice, you'll discover how important it is to use your time wisely, not just in life, but also in your learning. So read slowly, reflect deeply, and let the story inspire you not only to live better, but to grow stronger in your English skills. So let's begin with the story. In a quiet town nestled between two ridges of evergreens, time moved slower than anywhere else. People said the mountains held it still, like water in a cupped hand. But in the heart of this town stood a clock tower that never missed a second, thanks to an old man named Elias Finch. Elias was a clockmaker, the last of his kind, some said. His shop, Finch and Time, sat at the base of the tower, its windows always fogged with warmth and the smell of oiled brass. Locals came to him with their wristwatches, wall clocks, and grandfather pendulums. He greeted them with the same phrase each time. "You only get so much time, make it work." No one took the word seriously. They chalked it up to the eccentricities of an old man who talked more to gears than people. But Elias had once wasted his life, and it haunted every tick of the clocks he repaired. Elias had not always been a clockmaker. In his youth, he had dreams as vast as the night sky of travel, of greatness, of becoming someone the world would not forget. His father, a humble carpenter, tried to warn him, "Dream big, son, but do the living too. A dream with no action is a clock without a mainspring." Elias didn't listen. He believed in destiny. He was sure life would find him. So he waited for inspiration, opportunity, something grand. He passed up jobs, turned down apprenticeships, and let friendships fade. He read books, drafted plans, and watched seasons change from the comfort of his chair. And just like that, 10 years vanished. He was 30 when he realized the world had not been waiting for him. Friends had married, built homes, started businesses. He, meanwhile, still lived in his parents' attic. He had notebooks full of ideas and nothing to show for them. That was the first time Elias considered the true value of time, not as something measured in minutes, but in moments lived or lost. One cold evening, after another day of nothing, Elias wandered into an antique shop on the edge of town. It was a strange place, lit by gas lamps and cluttered with relics. At the back, buried beneath dusty books, he found a broken clock. It was old and elegant, with silver hands frozen at 11:57. Something about it stirred him. The shopkeeper, a hunched man with eyes like polished coal, watched him. That one belonged to a philosopher. Said it stopped the night he died 3 minutes to midnight. Elias bought it on impulse and spent weeks fixing it. Something inside him awoke with every tightened spring and aligned cog. When it finally ticked again, the sound rang through his soul. He'd found his purpose. Years passed, Elias became the town's clockmaker, fixing time for others while trying to forgive himself for what he had wasted. He adopted rituals. He'd rise before dawn, listen to the birds, and work until sunset. Each tick from the clocks reminded him, be present, be moving, do not wait. Still, regret followed him like a shadow. One autumn, a boy named Jonah began visiting his shop. He was 12, curious, and full of energy, much like Elias had once been. "How do clocks work?" Jonah asked one day. Elias smiled. "Like people, they need direction, energy, and something to keep them going." Jonah became his apprentice. Under Elias's guidance, he learned more than just mechanisms. He learned patience, discipline, and how to treat time with respect. But as Jonah grew older, Elias noticed something troubling. Jonah was dreaming of greatness again, like Elias had. He spoke of building something no one had ever seen. He wanted to travel, but always later. There was always tomorrow, always next year. Elias recognized the signs too well. He saw Jonah beginning to waste his life, one delay at a time. One evening, Elias took Jonah to the clock tower. They climbed the narrow steps in silence until they reached the room behind the clock face. The gears turned slowly, a hypnotic dance of brass and purpose. Elias spoke, his voice like the wind through old leaves. "Do you know why I became a clockmaker?" Jonah shook his head. "Because I spent too many years waiting for life to begin. I wasted them thinking time was generous. It's not. It only feels infinite until it's not." Jonah frowned. "But I'm young. I've got time." Elias turned and looked the boy straight in the eyes. "That's the lie we tell ourselves. Time doesn't wait. It ticks, whether you're watching or not." He pulled out the old silver clock, the one from the antique shop, now pristine. This stopped at 11:57. The man who owned it once said he'd change the world, but he never started. When he died, this clock stopped 3 minutes before midnight, with everything he meant to do still unwritten. He handed it to Jonah. "This is yours now. Let it remind you don't waste your life." Jonah changed after that. He still dreamed big, but he also started doing. He launched a small repair service at school, studied hard, and built a solar-powered sundial that won a science fair. Every morning he wound the silver clock before school. Elias watched quietly, proud and afraid. Proud that Jonah was living better than he had, afraid that his own time was almost up. He felt it in his bones, fatigue that never left, hands that trembled even when still. His body, like a neglected timepiece, was winding down. He wrote a letter to Jonah just in case, and placed it in the drawer beneath the workbench. One snowy December morning, Elias didn't open his shop. Jonah came by after school, confused. He found Elias in his armchair, eyes closed, surrounded by ticking clocks. A smile rested on his lips, and the silver clock sat on his chest, still ticking. Jonah wept, holding his mentor's hand until the last chime of the day rang through the tower. The funeral was small. Elias had no family left, but the town came shopkeepers, teachers, old customers. Jonah delivered the eulogy. "Elias taught me how to fix clocks, but more than that, he taught me how not to waste the time they measure. He once told me that time doesn't stop when we do. It keeps going. That's why we must move with it, not behind it." He pulled out the silver clock and held it up. "He gave me this to remind me. Start now, not tomorrow. Not when things are perfect. Now." Years later, Jonah became a renowned engineer. He invented devices that helped remote villages harness wind power and brought timekeeping to places that had never known it. At the heart of every project hidden in the framework was a tiny etching. Make it work. He never forgot the lesson. In the same little town, Finch and Time still stands. It's run by Jonah now, who teaches children how to fix clocks and how to live without delay. Above the workbench, framed in oak, is a handwritten note. To the next dreamer, don't wait for life to begin. Begin it, now. Don't waste your life. Elias Finch. And above the clock tower, the hands keep moving. Never fast, never slow, just forward.